Welcome back to our practical marketing course for busy librarians. This is Lawrence Webster, again, talking today about one of the most important parts of library marketing, developing your library ambassadors. Library ambassadorship is a very special kind of word-of-mouth marketing. It is developing a core of voluntary, enthusiastic spokespeople who will carry the library message to other important places. People who will represent the nation of library land in places like the nation of legislation land, or the nation of media land, or the nation of philanthropy. Before you roll your eyes at this ambassador analogy, I do think it might be a little overused these days, but really think about what it means. I think it works. Our State Department, for example, or the United Nations, think of places where ambassadors get trained and sent out to carry a message and represent their home country, and importantly, bring back information from other lands. And think about what makes a prepared and effective ambassador. In an ideal world, an agency will prepare someone carefully before sending him or her out to represent it. First, of course, the good ambassador knows a great deal about the land that he or she is representing. The language, the culture, the facts and figures, the geography, the ethnicities and problems, the joys and strengths. And second, and equally important, effective ambassadors will be prepared with the same kind of in-depth information about the specific land where they are headed. And once they get there, they will keep their eyes and ears open and fine-tune their knowledge and understanding of how people in that culture communicate and what they value. Now, all this makes sense when you're talking about sending a person to represent, say, the United States in, say, Thailand. But how does this translate for libraries? Well, if you want to send a person forth from library land to legislature land, you want to be sure they first have full knowledge of library land, facts and figures, narrative, values, governance, everything you can imagine. And then, before they walk in the door, they need to know as much as possible about legislation land, the power structure, the language, including idioms and jargon, the culture, facts and figures, ethos, and belief systems. It helps if the ambassador already knows someone who lives in legislature land, but it's not strictly required. This same model holds when you're representing the library in other communities. The Multi-Faith Pastoral Council, the Area Agency on Aging, the schools, the Kiwanis and Elks and Rotary, county government, the homeschooling community, or even a more amorphous place like the land of millennials. If you think as the State Department might in preparing Foreign Service representatives, I think you'll find it very helpful. Another approach to this is to move people up the levels of this pyramid. Try this out. Think of your community as made of layers, of groups defined by increasing levels of involvement with your library. Starting at the bottom with suspects, people who don't think about the library or have it at all as part of their lives, just not on their screen at all. Moving up, we have prospects who would probably use the library. They know it's there. It's probably a good thing. They need to know a little more about it. Maybe they need some friends to encourage them. And you've got customers. They use the library pretty often. They know something about some of your services. And then you have Uber customers or clients who use the library often. They have relationships with staff members. They talk about the library with their friends. And then there are your champions. They use many of your services heavily. They know about a lot of services, even the ones they don't use. And they know about library funding and history. And they like talking with their friends about the library and talking with colleagues and elected officials. The library gives them pleasure and pride. And they say so. These champions are, of course, your best ambassadors. The key here is to think of this pyramid as something you want to try to reshape. You want the yellow and blue segments to be bigger in relationship to the whole, and the green segment smaller. In other words, you want to move prospects up to customers, customers up to clients, clients can become champions. And of course, suspects, those non-users who barely know you exist, can become prospects. One other key point here, though, the transitions are easier at the top of the pyramid from a marketing point of view. That is, it's easier to convert someone from being a client to being a champion than it is convert someone from being a suspect to a prospect. So if your primary marketing goal is a blanket, we need to get the non-users in here. First, I would advise you separate those non-users into groups. Some who are likely to use the library once they know more about it. Focus your efforts there before you put in the all-out effort that's required to bring awareness to a totally uninvolved group of people. Now, where do you find your ambassadors, your champions, your advocates? Where are the people who already reside at the top layers of that pyramid? Let's start with them. Some of these are pretty obvious. Your library family. Don't forget, of course, your governing board or advisory board members if you have one, your friends group, foundation board, and donors if you have a foundation. And this is really key, everyone on staff, including volunteers. I know that Florida Public Libraries still rely quite heavily on volunteers, and often they are the public face of the library, especially in some smaller places. Then look at your heaviest users. Who are regulars at programs? Who come and chat about the library when they come and check out a book or ask a question? Who are the people who come in almost every day or frequent the website regularly or make a lot of Facebook comments? Then look at the groups who use your meeting room, the groups who rely on the library for their being, the genealogy club, humanities program folks, maybe the homeschooling parents. Sit down and make a list, brainstorm potential ambassador groups, and even some key names of individual people. Make an effort to recruit them formally. We're stepping up our word-of-mouth marketing, and we want to develop a core group of knowledgeable people who can talk about the library. Would you join us? Remember, you're talking to people who already look very favorably upon you. They'll probably be honored by being invited to join you rather than irritated. How do you prepare, folks? Clearly, with written information and talking points, including ways to respond to questions like, why do we need libraries now that we have the internet? Or, I wish the library could help me prepare for the GRE. And do acknowledge that anyone who's already so involved with your library shares the library's sense of mission and purpose and is going to be very interested in trends and innovations in American public libraries. Include them in on your most innovative thinking, on the things you're worried about. You can give them ways to talk about the library and its greater good, just by sharing some library literature with them, some of the good stuff. It's important that being a library ambassador is ongoingly a positive and satisfying experience, a way for someone to connect with people of like mind, a way to have a good time. Some good ways to build knowledge and enthusiasm might be a series of small dinner events or a special meeting for ambassadors off-site somewhere, or even a day in a van visiting other libraries in the region and getting to know one another. Or it might be as simple as frequent staff contact and lots of information sharing back and forth. This should be fun in the deepest sense of the word. It should be enriching for people. And endless, frequent, constant contact, a weekly tweet, a very short email, a Facebook posting, a point of interest, updates on budget talks, something you just read, a new marketing focus. Keep your ambassadors involved in your thinking. In fact, invite their comments once you've come to know them and trust them. Don't keep constant contact with them by rote. A standard weekly email that looks exactly the same is probably not the most effective way to build and keep enthusiasm. I do believe overall, if you invest the time and thought in building and nurturing this core of educated, enthusiastic spokespeople, your efforts will be rewarded richly. So in closing here, do the exercises, get out a piece of paper and name names, names of groups, names of people, and think about ways that would work in your community to get them together and strengthen their confidence and enthusiasm. And I would like to close by saying something I've been saying for many years. In fact, any of you who've been to a workshop of mine in Florida in the past has probably heard me say this. But imagine this. If every library staff member, friend, trustee, user, advocate, and library lover, every one of them, used the word library 3 times a day in a grammatical sentence in the course of their daily lives, golf course, church, school, work, gym, board meeting, chess club, wherever life takes them, our libraries would be well used and well funded, and people would know about them and value them. Or the shorthand for this mini technique is library, library, library. Just do it now. Write down 3 short sentences about your library. Exciting things. I will see you next time for the last presentation in the course when we touch on assessment and celebration, and we will wrap up this Speed of Sound tour through library marketing.